Hola, folks. I got some mail, but before we get to that, let's go ahead and pop this in here. Actually, let's do this one. All right, cool deal. Yeah, Skinny got some mail today, so actually, I'll probably need to grab a few of these anyways, because I got a feeling that I'm gonna have a minor complaint here already in regards to these. Let's see, I need one, two, three, I believe. Hey, Dave. Hey, I got some cool stuff. I got mail today. Uh, go ahead and open it up. Oh, it's like taped in here with masking tape. I do not like how this is packed, but this is the what I get from Indie Planet, which I'm honestly gonna complain about. Um, the books that the creator that I bought these from is awesome. But the way that the company that they are going through has shipped them to me is piss poor. Um, I paid a lot of shipping to get an off-brand Gemini mailer, which that's fine, whatever. No real complaints, but this you can clearly tell is one of the cheaper ones because it's thinner cardboard, so it's not as protected. But my biggest issue is no. See how wobbly this is? There's no backer boards. I ordered 3 books from these people. Through their services. I'm going to talk to him about this because I'm not happy with this. I bought 3 books, which I'm very excited about because these are Point Man Comics issues 1, 2, and I got number 3 here. Already got some damage on the books, which that's fine, you know, I'm not. But this is what makes me mad. This is how they were shipped. They were in this bag. Like, it's just the amount of cheapness that the company has come to. So that's why I was already This is not a reflection on Cassidy, though. Cassidy Blonde, he's the writer, and he put all of it together, and he commissioned all the artists and everything. He hasn't crowdfunded a book. He just finished his book and put it on Indie Planet, which I'm going to talk to him. There's got to be a better, because this might be hurting his business too, honestly, because if somebody was shipping out my books like this, I'd be pretty upset. But now I've got them properly bagging and boarding them. Because I'm OCD like that. But yeah, I think he should be aware because, like, there's no reason that anybody should be getting comics shipped raw like that. Like, there's no. I mean, I'm lucky they didn't get damaged. I'm very lucky they didn't get damaged because it's very easy for books to bounce around. Like, if Dave, you got my books. If you're wondering why I have it taped on 3 sides of the Gemini mailer, that's because if you don't tape it in place, it can still, you know, wiggle around and bounce around inside the package, which damages the corners. Which they kind of did that in a really half-assed way, both using one piece of masking tape. But, like, they only used one bag. There wasn't a single backer board in there. There was no rigid surface to help protect the comics or anything. They shipped them all in the same bag, along with putting one of the worst printed invoices I've ever seen. It's just horrendous, man. And the sad part is like they're getting a discount on the books that they're putting out there by doing the print ads on the back too. So I don't know. I think I want to talk to, and I'm not doing this to stir up drama or anything, but I want to talk to Cass about this. I'm not sure if he's aware if this is how his books are getting shipped out because if he realized that he might look into another avenue of distributing his books in a better and cheaper format. Like, I could probably help him get onto Amazon, and that would be really good. And granted, Amazon doesn't ship the best either, but Amazon's not charging you crazy prices. Amazon has, like, you know, the next day delivery and stuff like that. You know, Amazon has a lot of perks. It's also a store that one of the largest online retailers on the planet, which is really good too. So that means everybody uses it. But anyways, I'm not throwing shade on Cass. I'm very excited to read his books, and I would highly recommend anybody else check out Point Man Comics. He's been putting a lot of work into these, and he's trying to get the 4th one done. And, you know, I'm gonna try to get with him. I think there's a better way he can be getting his books out there, though. I honestly do. I know this isn't something necessarily within his control, so I'm not casting shade on that. But I don't know about this Indie Planet thing. I wouldn't want my books being shipped out like this. I mean, it's just the fact that I spent like $27, almost 30 bucks for 3 regular comics, and that's how they were shipped to me as a customer. When I'm fulfilling books that cost people $12, like bottom line. And I'm actually putting them in bags and boards. I'm securing them. You know, it just makes me question that. I know definitely, like, I know I had been thinking about offering my books on Indie Planet, but I don't think I'm going to now. I think at the very least I'll go through Amazon because worst case Ontario, if somebody does get a damaged book, Amazon has a really good return policy. Yeah, it's not his fault. This is he's just got it going through this company, so I'm sure he just gets like a little royalty check or whatever. But I want to try to talk to him because I think he'd have a lot better luck on Amazon too. Like as much as he shills, like I know me myself personally, I'm a little apprehensive when it comes to purchasing from, websites in general. There's only a few exceptions where, like Amazon, Walmart, eBay is usually all right. The popular ones, the ones that have been around for a while. Um, these little kind of, I don't want to degrade the websites, but these kind of little just more fringe websites like the Indie Planet and stuff like that. I know I'm not really, because a lot of these older sites, even with Kablam, like if you try to print books through Kablam, like their websites like old and archaic, it's so complicated and convoluted, and the charges are a little excessive sometimes. Um, but on top of that, as an average shopper, I don't really trust just any website. So I think maybe, I don't know, I'll talk to him about it and hopefully he'll hear me out and I can get him on a path to where he might be getting some extra income in there. No, it's definitely not his fault though, Dave. This is, like I said, Indie Planet handles the printing and fulfillment, which they were printing through Kablam because I see that ad on the back here. So I guess they're affiliated with Kablam, which I don't know. Kablam's all right. I don't like their I don't like how their website and everything was laid out, but their books were okay. I think he could be doing better though. I think if instead of I mean he could still do both, but I think if he actually put his books on like Amazon or something like that, a more popular website, I think he would it would be a lot easier for him to make a sale because people have a lot of trust in Amazon. Like, you buy something from Amazon, you're going to get it. You're going to get it within a timely manner more often than not as well. Amazon does a lot of tracking and stuff. These other offshoot sites like Indie Planet and them, it's hard to get a sale on because even people like me who like comic books, I don't want to buy stuff on Indie Planet. I've been wanting to support Cassidy, but I always kind of forgot about it because he hasn't run a campaign. He's just had his books just put up on this website. And I don't know, that's a fault of mine too, but as a consumer, but at the same time, I think if he were actually like on Amazon or something like that, a more available website, I think he'd be getting sales a lot more easily. And I think that also opens him up to international business as well, because since I have issue one of Otis Stein on Amazon, I'm part of the KDP program, I think is what it's called. And due to that, Amazon has uh, business dealings with other retailers across the globe. Uh, so, like, I forget the name of the shop, but it's basically the Australian Barnes and Noble. If you go to their website, um, they have Otis Stein #1 listed on there. So my book is like available and distributed worldwide just by having it on Amazon, which I think is a really better option to these, because that actually helps those guys get your books without paying outlandish shipping either. I know I may charge $34 for international shipping, and in a perfect world I wouldn't have to. But the reality is shipping is usually out fucking rageous, and it's hard to predict, and it fluctuates and it goes up and down. I would rather charge an I would rather charge a little too much than too little, because when I charge too little, it starts coming out of my pocket, and I don't like that. Because when it starts coming out of my pocket, that starts affecting my budget for my books, and that affects the product overall. That's not a good thing. But yeah, I charge $34 for international shipping, but that's because I don't want to eat shit on that deal. I don't think it's fair that I would be expected to. And granted, I understand why some people uh, in other countries are frustrated with that. I understand completely. I empathize with them. But getting mad at me for charging that much is not, I'm not the cause of the problem. If I wish all these people who got frustrated would actually go to the politicians in their countries and bitch at their fucking leaders and be like, look, man, we got to change some shit with fucking customs. There's no reason I should be paying, this much money to get something from America. Like, to a degree, that's kind of your fault. I mean, I don't understand why people aren't like getting upset about that. Like, don't tell me to, don't bitch to me about it. Like, I don't have any power of it. I don't dictate what they charge me to ship things. I just charge enough to where I can actually do it without it coming out of my pocket. But if you're really that frustrated with it, talk to your fucking whoever's in charge of that shit. Barking up the wrong tree with me, though. Which it is fucking outrageous. Like, it cost $24 for me to send something to Canada last year. Because I sent uh, Stupid Newfie, who pops in the chat here and there. I sent him some books, and he's out there in Newfoundland, and it cost me like $24 to send something out there. But at the same time, turn around and it cost me like, I think it was $32 to send something out to New Zealand, which took like 6 fucking months to get there too, by the way. That was when I was shipping out to Video James, who also pops in the chat as well. So that's why I charged the $34. And Canada goes back and forth, because sometimes when I would estimate it'd be up to $26, sometimes it'd be down to $20. Yeah, global craziness. I'm just living within the system though. So to anybody who wants to get upset that I charge $34 for international shipping, I don't want to charge that much, but I'm covering my ass. So I'm not going to be the Jesus of indie comics and like put myself on a crucifix and end up, splayed out in debt from international shipping. No, no, sir. No. That's not my job. I'm not here for that. That's also why I like the digital. A lot of these creators, they don't offer their books digital. One thing I have noticed, like, I don't know, like a lot of these indie creators are very cool and a lot of them have really good books, but you step back and you think about it, how do you get their books? Like after they've run a campaign, a lot of these guys, like maybe you can reach out to them and they still have a few copies on hand, but like if you're supposed to be competing with the industry like a lot of these guys say they are, like, well, there's the market, but your book's not on the market. Like, your book's more like the fucking McRib that just happens to roll through town one occasionally. Like, you can't. It doesn't make any sense. You're not really doing anything. Like, you need to have your product always available for any new people coming on board or whatever. You can't expand with a limited product. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. People are weird though. I mean, they can do what they want to do. If they want it to be a limited book, that's cool. And I respect the idea that some people have like they're like, well, I have to keep them limited to campaign because that's how they retain value for my customers. And honestly, that's not true. Um, we have dealt with this throughout the history of print. That's why usually first editions, first prints of books are the ones that are actually worth some. So your campaign backers, if you just do a limited first print for them, anything after that is gravy. You just, you know, you label it as a second or a third print, what have you. You haven't affected their value at all. In fact, you've actually increased their demand because you've increased the rarity of their product because instead of there being 200 first prints on the market, now there's, let's say, 1,000 books on the market, 700 of which are second prints, which are very common. You've just made them even more rare because now, instead of just 200 out in the wild, you got 1,000 out in the wild, and now you have a 3 in 10 chance of running across one. Like, I don't know, it kind of makes sense in my head in that respect. But so the argument that like just only are offering your book on the campaigns is just, let's just be honest, it's retarded. It doesn't impact the value of the books themselves. In fact, if you want to do the best thing for your backers, you want to have your book available on the market because the best thing to increase the value of those first print books is to actually become successful, which means that you allow the general public to hop on board and you make lots of money. Those books aren't going to be worth shit if they're the only ones who own them and they're the only ones who buy them. But they will be worth something if the general public happens to pick up on them. And then, I don't know, maybe somebody gets a Netflix deal or a movie deal or some fucking streaming deal or what the fuck ever. Who knows? Anything's possible. And then, hey, now you got like a Netflix show or whatever, I guess. And bam, there goes the value of your original books and everything. Yeah, when you're starting out, you need exposure. You're not some kind of exclusive nightclub. That's actually on point. Like, I'm going to be putting issue 2 on Amazon here soon. Um, because, especially on Amazon, I'm going to offer them as single issues for like maybe, I think I'm going to change up the pricing because right now issue 1 is up there for like 538, but I think I'm going to raise up the pricing a little bit and sell each single issue for an amount, and then I'm going to have a trade available as well. But that won't be available until much later. That's also the good thing about the campaigns is I'm able to do exclusive first print runs on certain products like the trade. The people on the crowdfunders will actually be able to get a customized first print as opposed to the mass produced copy that will be available on Amazon. I don't know, people are weird. I just don't understand how you think you can grow your business by basically, like Dave said, being an exclusive nightclub. You can't. That's just not how it works. But I think I'm doing really well. I'm over the coof. I went and done my taxes today. So I'm going to be packing some more books to ship out today. I'm still waiting on the digital proof for those not safe for work books, but as soon as that pops up, I'll have it done. But yeah, things are going good on my end, so I'm not just bullshitting. I'm basically talking the talk and walking the walk. I don't claim to be an expert, but I've done things and I know what seems to be working and what doesn't. Speaking of which, I don't know if I'm going to offer them on the campaign, but I'm going to make another one of these in the near future. That'd be pretty cool. One of these coffee cups. This actually turned out pretty well, like beyond the cropping. The cups held up really well. I've been using it for coffee for a while. It holds hot coffee and it keeps it warm for me, so it does its job. Oh, since you guys are in the chat, I showed this off the other day or last night, but I think everybody had left by that point. But yeah, let's see. Y'all want to see the first couple pages of issue 4? Sorry, I don't mean to sniff. I'm still a bit congested. But anyways, it's not spoilers or anything. It starts with two characters that I introduce in issue 2. Well, not issue 2, issue 3, which are two Fed agents. But, just showing them isn't really a spoiler or anything like that. So, this doesn't spoil any of the plot for issue 3. But I always try to write in, like, a good, fun opening. But let's see here. If I do that. Let me turn off the chat box here. There we go. There we go. Alright, so this would be page 1 of issue 4, which starts off with our two Fed agents. And you can see them sitting right here, and there's a car in the back. And this is where they're going to be talking to each other and stuff, just kind of catching everybody up to speed and everything. And then we've got page 2, which is going to be a nice splash page. And this is a good page turn moment, too, because this will be the first thing you see once you flip the pages. And as it turns out, they're on a pit stop on their way to help investigate everything that's going down. And, we're still waiting for this to be colored and everything. This is just the inks. Still going to scan it in and do all of that good stuff. Then we got the zip up, the car door open, the butt in the seat. And then we got this. which they got this big old box truck barreling in behind them. And then boom, just narrowly, because they're pulled over on the side of the road. But apparently this guy was fucking zooming. Almost fucking trashed them as they were pulling out. And that one of the agents is down here behind the wheel just shitting his fucking pants. And he's upset. Jumps out and yells at the truck and is frustrated and bangs his head on the steering wheel there and made sure and told Carlos that make him like look fucking, you know, all distraught and shit. I mean, you can definitely tell the difference between there, like, I don't know, it's a way to tell a story without telling it. Like, you can, I don't know, I like doing stuff like that. And then from there, this goes back to the deputy and the sheriff who are uh, on their way to a diner, which I can't really discuss why they're at the diner because that would actually be spoiler territory. But in this diner, this is going to be Bean's place. And so I'm going to have some friends making some cameos in the diner here. That's going to be fun. But yeah, that's all I got. That's 6 pages so far, and this is issue 4. 3's already done as far as art goes. Go ahead and turn that off there. There we go. There is no link, Moby. I'm just on my webcam. I don't. I'm not on like StreamYards or anything like that. Yeah, Dave. I'm gonna be having. I'm gonna put you in the book too. At some point too. I'm just kind of going through a list, and nobody's really on the list of priority. As like it's not like the order in which people are appearing in the book have any. It's more so where I'm drawing the book and I'm like, huh, you know, this character would be a good fit for so and so. It's more like that. And I haven't written a good character for you yet, but when I do have a character that I need that really fits your bill, it's going to be you, sir. Um, like I wanted to put Doug and I in the second issue, and we promptly get killed like in the first like 3 pages. But I did us, and then I put Melter in issue 2. And then in issue 3, who do I have in issue 3? Well, yeah, I've got Mecha in issue 3. And then issue 4, I'm going to have Bean, Cheyenne, and Zach from Twitter, Zach Hawkins. He's one of my good friends too. He's actually a cook, like in real life. Like he's always worked in like smokehouses and shit like that. So he's going to be the short order cook. That's what I mean when I say that it's not really. I'm not working through a list of people I like from favorite to least favorite, I suppose. It's not like that. It's just when I find a role that fits the bill. And I needed a short order cook, and I'm like, hey, that sounds like my buddy. So that's a good fit for him. But yeah, so it's fun. I like putting people that I like in the books too. I know some people like I don't understand why you would add somebody you don't like into something because in reality, you know, you may get a chuckle out of it, may be spiteful, but at the end of the day, you actually wasted time, in my opinion, at least, because you dedicated your energy to somebody that you don't even like, even if it's like for some kind of inside joke. I just don't understand that. It seems counterproductive to waste your time on somebody that you don't like when there's a large list of probably people that you do like that would probably be a lot more worthwhile of the time. So that's why anytime I'm adding folks to books, it's gonna be somebody I like. I'm not gonna go down that path of I really hate this guy, so I'm gonna write him in here. No, it's gonna be people that I enjoy their company or supporters of the book or what have you. It's gonna be good people, even if they get ripped to shreds. Yeah, the epitome of living rent free in your head, and that's kind of like the point. Like, I don't know, I don't want to necessarily piss on anybody because I'm not talking about anybody specifically. It's just I've noticed a trend throughout media in general. Like, not a lot of people are aware of this, but it's actually true. But in the beginning of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, you see a wrecked Volkswagen, and that's basically Stanley Kubrick giving Stephen King the middle finger because in the book, Jack was driving up in a Volkswagen and all that other stuff. Yeah. And I'm not shitting on Stanley Kubrick either necessarily, but it really doesn't add anything to the story. It's kind of funny, yeah, but the odds that people are gonna see the joke the way you do is gonna be different too. Like I had no idea that this Ernst character was an insert of Doug Ernst until somebody pointed it out, to be completely honest. But once they did, it was just cringy, you know? It was like they based a villain in this comic book on a real person. And this is from a mainstream book, too. This isn't just some indie. So, like I said, I'm not shitting on anybody in particular. This is something you find throughout media. I just don't understand it. I would much rather add people that I like, as a way to like thank them for their support and stuff like that because that's something they can cherish and enjoy. Like, yeah, not everybody's gonna read my books and point at that person and be like, "Oh, hey, that's so and so." No, it's not. But if I put somebody that I didn't like in there, they're not gonna do that either. But if I put somebody I like in there, that person will probably get the book and they'll probably cherish it. It'll probably make them really fucking happy. Because they'll be like, I'm a part of something. This person really liked me enough to put me in their book, and yada, yada, yada. I mean, the person that you didn't like's not going to have a copy of the book framed on their wall and be like, oh, that motherfucker killed me in his book, you know. Yeah, that's not going to happen. It's kind of funny to think about, though. I don't know. People take this shit way too seriously. I'm just here to have fun, man. I'm not here to fight no dumbass culture war. I'm just here to be me and to make comic books and to tell stories. And I hope that people like my stories enough to keep buying them. And I can keep making them. I think that would be pretty fucking rad. Let's see here. So I showed y'all the hold on. I showed y'all the first 6 pages. Right? So let me change this up real quick. fuck is it? See, I'm trying to. I don't know if I have all the pages. Thought I did. I think I'm missing a page though. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm missing page 3. Yeah, so there's 30. So I'm missing page 3 for some reason. Because there's page 4, 5, 6, 7. Why do I not have page 3? That is weird. Let's see, those are covers there. Yeah. Well, that's a shame. What is this? Okay. I'll just. Okay, there we go. I found the page. I don't know where that spread disappeared to. Missing that as well. There we go. That. Nope. Don't want to pull it. I'm almost done. almost done. I know I said that a minute ago, but I literally am almost done. Only got 3 more to do. 1. I just had to rename the files real quick into page numbers. Actually, okay. I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. Here we go. That'll work better. Alright. You guys still there? Oh, yeah. Alright, cool deal. What I'll do is that. And then I can turn that on. And then there we go. So we got the cover for issue 3. This is the main cover here. I'm not going to share too much, but Dave, you've already read your copy of issue 2, I'm assuming. Then we start with this trucker here. And we got page 2 here. He's driving around. He kind of sees some shit on fire. Decides to put on some tunes. And then we cut to a sheriff and a deputy trying to call in some help to the system with like this house full of fucking bodies they're not prepared for. And then we've got Emma over here as well. She's one of the new characters that's introduced in this issue. And she's the dispatcher. But she's kind of assisting on the phones and stuff too. And then we get an ominous glow. Everybody's a bit worried. And poof. They glow. And then Emma screams. And as it turns out, I haven't lettered or anything yet. But they're going to be feds. These are the 2 feds that we saw in a couple of pages for issue 4. And then they're talking. And then we shift back to where we left off on issue 2. And this pretty much just picks up right where it left off. This is one of my favorite parts, so I'm going to show this and talk about it. But here, I haven't lettered it yet. It's Vince basically giving his atypical, villain speech. Resistance is futile. You can't fight back against us. And like, while he's doing that, he's still going to be talking back here. But obviously, Otis just doesn't give a shit, because I really don't give a shit either. They do this in every fucking comic, so Otis's response is just finish off the tequila and yeet the bottle and bonks him right in the head during his fucking speech. Because if you notice, he's not aware, but Winnie, which is what I named the Wendigo, is Winnie. Uh, she's aware because she's actually paying attention. He's just full of fucking himself. And that's why he gets hit by the bottle. Then he gets mad and orders her to attack. I'm not going to show any more after that. But yeah, so we have that. Turn that off. And that's pretty much just the first little bit of the opening. There's obviously going to be other stuff happening and going on. I always try to make the beginning of the book pretty interesting. I don't know. I have a thing with intros now. Like, I feel like I've got this kind of good rhythm going where each issue just kind of starts off on a scene that doesn't really have a whole lot to do with. Oh, yeah, Mrs. Skinny's. She's not like streaming with me. But she's here in the room with me. She's just kind of doing her own thing right now. She's got headphones and stuff on. But I'll definitely tell her you said hey. Oh, she heard me, so she said hi. But yeah. But no, Moby, like I said, man, like, I'm not in a chat or anything. I'm literally just streaming my audio and webcam. I didn't clean this thing last time, so hopefully it's not too bad. But it's time for a smoke. A cold open. Oh yeah, a cold open. Yeah, I get what you're talking about now. It took me a second. I was like, what is he talking about? And it's like, oh yeah, he's probably at the part where I was talking about the. But well, for issue two, like issue one ended with Otis killing the last of the cult members, and then just making a run for it because the cops were on their way. Issue two opens with the cops outside the residence. So I don't know if that wouldn't be considered a cold open because that followed directly from the events of issue one. But now issue three, it opens with that trucker on the road, but there's a purpose for it. Is because I'm using this as a way to espouse information because while the trucker's on the road, he's going to be listening to a news report. That's why he ends up putting a tape on because he gets tired of hearing bullshit and he just wants to hear some tunes, which is pretty much like me. I stopped listening to the radio because I got tired of hearing people talking all the time. But anyways, the stuff on the radio has relevance to the plot to a degree. It's not super important stuff, but it's just stuff to establish, hey, the authorities are working uh, and are looking for volunteers to help or whatever, or, you know, avoid this area. There might be fires over there, shit like that. Because right now, at least at the end of issue 2 at this point, the Otis residence has been set on fire. All the cops there have been killed, but nobody knows yet because there's no cell phones or anything. So if you're wondering why nobody's really freaking out in issue 3, it's because as far as they know, like the cops at the house are still doing all right. They're not aware that the place is on fire. They're not aware that all those guys got killed pretty much almost as soon as they left. Because I have a strict no cell phones rule. We may have computers, but they'll be like retro future tech, I guess, kind of like Aliens, where it'll look more like MS DOS kind of shit. But there's not going to be a lot of technology in the books, as far as I know. That just ruins the story. In my opinion. Because, like, if I add in phones, then there's going to be scenes where I'm going to have to explain why somebody didn't just call the fucking cops or whatever. And I'm just getting rid of that problem, saying, nope, they just don't exist. Maybe one day somebody will be like, oh, there's no trans people in your book. Something like, well, they just don't exist, buddy. My world is a perfect world. Don't take that last one seriously. That was just a fucking joke. That doesn't mean I'm going to or not going to add any specific character. It depends on what the story calls for, what the plot needs to move forward. That's what I'm most focused on. What's the most enjoyable turn this story could take that would make somebody laugh or gasp? Because, like, I don't know. I don't like books with agendas, but my agenda, if there is one, is just to entertain you. There's no political nonsense or anything. It really annoys me when people say that everything is political. Always found that kind of just retarded because sometimes the drapes are just blue. And yeah, your interpretation of something may be political, but that doesn't mean that its original intent was that. You know, I'm all for death of the author and everything, but it always annoyed me when people tried to apply intention when there was none. Like, it's okay if you want to interpret this to mean that. Just don't try to say that the author was saying that when they're sitting right in front of you telling you that you're full of shit. Just call it your interpretation, call it what it is. Just don't pretend like that's the only interpretation. Sometimes the drapes are just blue. And I just want to write a fun story about a redneck who gets to fight monsters and get drunk and maybe have a little fun with the ladies. I mean, Mary's dead, and Otis has needs. I think those are called. Okay, that's not a new message at all. It's taking me a lot longer to clean my terp slurp because I didn't clean it between hits last time, so I got all this fucking shit that gathers up. I still gotta do the lower half of it. I'll show you what ends up happening. But see, I've cleaned this top and I've cleaned the marble in there, but you see how black it is and everything. Like once it gets cold and you end up reheating it to do another one or whatever, really just messes it up. You can't even tell that I've got other stuff in there either. Sure, you can see the smoke coming off of it a little bit here and there. Oh no, that's a pretty thing. You might not be able to see it. Oh no, you can kind of see it. This is just garbage that I'm burning off, basically just leftover residue. Because the idea of vaping is basically you're only inhaling the exact stuff that you need to get high. You're cutting out all the bullshit, like as opposed to a flower where you're smoking like a lot of carbon stuff, like stems and leaves and whatnot. This is more of a purified concentrate. Of just the THC, pretty much. I think this one I'm smoking now is 94%. Not 94, 92% THC. So it's really high grade stuff, but the cool thing about dabs, at least to me, is I feel like it's more of a functional high, in my opinion. Like, there's times when I rip a bong and you just get so stupid stoned that you can't even think straight, bro. You're just. But with dabs, I feel like it gets me to that really stoned mellow point, but I'm still in control. I still have all of my faculties. It's like a cleaner high, I suppose. So even though you are like smoking a lot more like potent stuff, it's kind of hitting you in a different way. Though I'm sure if you did like a dab for the first time, it might knock you on your ass. But basically, it's just the equivalent of like some of these vape pens too. Like those little vape pens are basically just little portable dab pens. They're just using coils and stuff to heat that stuff up. Okay. I almost got it clean. There's still a little bit left on the pill there, but you see there's a little quartz pill in there too, and that's kind of made for when I heat it up down here. That'll help hold the heat. I use it because I like getting high. Um, yeah, it's good for that it helps other folks with like physical ailments and stuff like that, and it has helped me a lot with my anxiety and depression. But honestly, even if it didn't help with my anxiety and depression, like if it didn't, so to speak, it had like a neutral, it didn't have any effect at all, I'd still be smoking weed because I just like getting high. I just like it. It's just a cool way to be, in my opinion. Like it just you feel relaxed. You're not stupid. You're just more relaxed, in my opinion. That's what it does for me, at least. I mean, I'm a very skinny guy. My metabolism is fucking crackhead level for some reason. Even at age 34, I'm still, eating like a fat kid on Thanksgiving most of the time and not really gaining any weight unless the only time I gain weight is when I start working out and start putting on muscle, which I should probably get back to doing. I haven't joined a gym out here yet. I need to do that. Just think about joining the Y. Anyways, but yeah, I just like smoking weed, man. I just like getting high. I'm not pooping on you for saying that you say it, that you do it for other reasons. I just, it does annoy me sometimes that we live in a society where people feel like that they have to justify things like that. Like nobody can just say I smoke weed. It's well, I smoke weed because and that's not on you. It's just it's sad that like we've been programmed to think that way. It really is. We've been programmed to apologizing or for things that, you know, make us better. And I don't know, it's like because like I was like in a lot of discussions and stuff like that, like for legalizing and everything like that, listening to all these people arguing and everything like that, and it was just a lot of it was just mostly medical stuff, s- and a lot of even the medical stuff will honestly, I'm gonna say, is just a bunch of mumbo fucking jumbo, just bullshit. Weed is not a miracle fucking drug. It helps with a lot of things. It helps. Helps is keyword. Helps. It is not a miracle cure by any means, and it annoys me when people treat it as such. Yeah, but what I mean is like have you ever like had to justify why you drank? Like if somebody catches you drinking a beer, you have to stop and be like, "Well, I drink this beer for my arthritis and my anxiety, you know?" No. Um, But like you say, like normally if you're meeting somebody new or whatever and they find and you end up telling them you smoke weed, honestly, Dave, how often do you tell them that you do it for medical reasons or whatever? Like, nobody goes around announcing why they drink or gamble or binge watch TV or eat McDonald's. Like, exactly. And that's what I mean. Like, why are you having to justify why you smoke weed? Is my thing because nobody has to justify anything else. And that's just what I'm kind of thinking on and kind of it just seems I don't know. It seems bad. It's a bad deal, man. And it's a bad deal because like at the same time like everybody's afraid to just, or for the most part it's changing now, but for a long time everybody was just too afraid to just say, you know what, I just like doing weed, the rest of it ain't your fucking business. Like, I don't know, I feel like we lean too hard into the medicinal thing, uh, and kind of adopted this behavior where we're having to justify it because for whatever reason, society looks badly upon it, which, but the weird thing is we are society. So why are we acting like it's a bad thing when it's not and we do it? Like, I don't know. I'm sorry, Dave. I don't mean to harp on that too much. It's not you. It just really disappoints me because that's the only thing where everybody's like, I do this for that. Nobody says that about like why they drink or why they gamble or why they binge watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which I totally do not do, but my wife might. I just don't like the fact that you feel like it, that you have to justify it. Like that's the bullshit because you don't have to justify anything else. Well, maybe killing somebody. Like you really need to justify that when that happens. But yeah, let's not get it to absurd levels. But I don't know. It just always seemed odd to me that like all this programming that goes into society and how weird things are. Like even like perceptions of us from another country are very strange because they have like it's all controlled, man. I don't know. Wish people would snap out of the matrix. Realize all this political stuff is just them being manipulated and marketed towards, and they're we're all just cattle, But like instead of milk, it's money, and that's what we're being farmed and exploited for, and we're being led by all these advertisements with subliminal advertising. All this stuff is based completely on legit hard science with subliminal messaging and advertisements and stuff like that. There's a book about it. I forget what the book's called. I used to have a copy of it, but it would talk about how, like in old whiskey adverts, they would actually have like sex spelled out in the ice cubes in the advert, and uh, naked women kind of placed there and everything, but nobody ever noticed. But it was all just like really subliminal shit, and it's a lot of things that Stanley Kubrick played with in his movies as well, because he is very interested in this idea, and it explained the reasons for the certain colorings in fast food places. Like I think yellow and red make give you a sense of hunger or something like that to that effect, and that's why that McDonald's has that color set on the interiors. There's a lot of weird things that people do to manipulate other people without any like physical interaction with them, just by painting things a certain color, um, playing certain music, saying certain things, showing certain things, amounts of certain things, you know. And the funny thing about lies is people will believe them as long as you tell it often enough. It's just crazy. Like, I hope you guys like actually stop and do some research into this, but look into like uh, manipulation and marketing and all of this stuff, and then you'll start to see stuff, and you'll start to see patterns emerge. And I'm not saying it's some giant global conspiracy, but what I am saying is that a bunch of corporate assholes use these tactics to all their benefits, and it's ending up in one giant fucking clusterfuck because they have essentially created like religions to an extent. Like corporations and brands have like some of these people have a religious fucking zealotry. Like have you ever seen some of these people, like some of like the fucking PlayStation fanboys or like the Microsoft console fanboys? Like, people are sending each other death threats because they said that one console doesn't get quite as hot as another console. It's, and I know you're just gonna think that it's just crazy kids, but the thing is this shit's being introduced even into kids, this kind of division and divide. It starts very young. It even started very young when I never really gave a shit about like division and shit like that. Maybe that has something to do with my Irish heritage, because like even the Irish mob was known for working with who the fuck ever. They literally did not have any prerequisites at all beyond, did you bring in money? Okay, you're good. Like they were known for just working with everybody and getting along with, well, not getting along with everybody, but you know what I mean. Uh, so we never really gave a shit about that as a people. So maybe that's why. I don't know. It's up in the air. But all this stuff, like, does anybody remember like Coney 2012 or whatever? Like everybody was like on board about, and it's like this dude out in Africa, like one of these little dictator leaders or what the fuck ever. I really don't remember the specifics, but like like it's all trends. It Nobody even thinks about any of the things that they're saying because it's all just a trend. Because if they had thought anything that they were saying, you could ask anybody about this Coney shit, and they should be able to tell you, but they're not going to be able to tell you. In fact, it's probably the first time that they've ever heard it again in the past, let's see, 10 fucking years. Guarantee it. Does anybody remember the fucking, was it the ALS, the Ice Bucket Challenge? No. You start talking about ALS, I guarantee you nobody's going to know what the fuck you're talking about more than likely. Some people will. But it's all trends, man. There's no progression. It's the illusion of progression. That's what it really comes down to. Yeah, but it's all just trends, man. They don't even think about what they're doing. They're just following the programming, if you really get down to it. Because none of them think for themselves. If they did, they wouldn't be spouting the stupid shit that they are. It's like you just deal with a bunch of robots. But also, maybe that's the dead internet, too. Like, and the dead internet theory is like, I think, like, only 40% of the internet was actually created by humans or whatever. And they have done studies where, and it's been declining over the years too, where most of the internet usage and bandwidth is by bots and AIs and algorithms and all that, silly techno shit that I don't know a whole lot about. But it's pretty interesting to think about. Especially when you consider the idea of like all these movements and everything that are only like 0.012% of the population, but online they have the appearance where, there's one on every fucking corner. But in reality, there's not. But obviously, we're being manipulated. As other countries ban some of the shit that we have going on, like the American TikTok, all the stuff that's on American TikTok would be banned in any other country's TikTok, the Chinese TikTok or whatever. Um, and it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's all fueled by money, greed, and power. And I don't know how to solve it. I don't have any answers. I'm just riding the wave, man. Like, I hope things get better. If there was something I could do to help things get better, I'm 100% on board to help out with that. But, what can I do? I can't. I've been telling my government to stop sending money to Ukraine. They keep doing it. I keep telling my government to stop doing things, and they don't listen. Government does what government does. Shit. And if I don't, you know, the fucked up thing that I always found is like if the government doesn't do something that they're supposed to, like nothing fucking happens. Literally, like it's like a who watches the Watchmen kind of thing. Like and they're not accountable to anybody. There's no people's court. And I know it's a TV show, but think about it. Shouldn't there be some kind of like fucking board of like all like civilians, not even politicians or anything like that, but some kind of civilian board that like the government as a whole has to answer to. And I'm not talking about like the fucking Supreme Court. But I mean like an actual like civilians, like the people who elected all these motherfuckers. Like, why isn't this a thing? Like, I don't understand that. If they're like beholden to us because, they are our elected representatives, why don't we have a board to make sure that they are why don't I have a number I can call to report the government like fucking shit up? Like I just expect the government to like be like, oh, I'm doing that over there. Oh, okay, let me fix me doing that over there. No, they're not going to do that. They don't. And that's what I mean. There needs to be some kind of accountability. There needs to be someone like even the governors like have to answer to like a state board, and it's not judges or anything. It's just local citizens and stuff like that. Keep it low key. Well, not low key like that, but like but it's actual people that they have to answer to because apparently our representatives are the people that we're actually supposed to be voting for are not doing anything at all. But there needs to actually be like a citizen thing. And hell, do it like jury duty. Pull a random fucking board of 12 people out of the population of districts of that state or whatever. Pay for them to come into a motel. Just random people. Just do it like jury duty. There you go. So that way, nobody has to be elected into that office. It's completely random. Uh, regardless if you have felonies. I think that's complete horseshit. You still have a voice, even if the government at one point accused you of something that you may or may not have been guilty of in the first place. And you served your time, so all your rights should be reinstated. There's no reason for that. I don't believe in second class citizens. That's not a thing in my world. Yeah, I like the idea of not being career politicians. I'm not sure exactly how to fix it, but I do think that if we had some kind of like board that they had to answer to where we basically just pulled the general populace out like a fucking jury that all these people had to answer to, like maybe once a year or something like that. Like, hey, you said this on your campaign and you didn't do that. What the fuck? You know what? For that, you lied to the people. We're considering that perjury. You're fined fucking, $2,000, fuckface. We need to have something like that because right now the politicians can lie to you as much as they want to, and there's not a fucking thing you can do about it. The only people that are actually like legitimately like banned from lying is us. If I give the cop a false name, even if he doesn't have a justified reason to be asking for my ID, even if I'm quote unquote just protecting my Fourth Amendment right by giving a false name so he can just be on his way and I don't have any troubles, I'm guilty of a crime. If I lie to any officer about anything, I'm guilty of a crime. If an officer lies to me, they're just investigating. If a politician lies to me, he's just being a politician. Civilians are the only people that are held accountable if they lie to anybody. So if it's that important, why does it just apply to us? Why doesn't it apply to? Because we have these people on camera lying, like in their fucking speeches and shit. I will vote this way, and then turn around. Nope, they sure don't. I would set up a system of fines for shit like that. There should be some kind of way. And then that would take a lot of less burden off the taxpayers because these motherfuckers always love to lie. So shit, fuck speeding tickets. Fuck that. Just monopolize lying. Make it illegal for politicians to lie, and when they do, they have to pay into the lie jar. It's just a big fucking national lie jar. I don't know. I feel like there needs to be some kind of accountability because it's fucked up that you can't lie in court. You can't lie to like police or anybody like that. You can't lie to like the board of health. You can't lie to any government official basically. Yet they can lie to you until, they're blue in the fucking face. And that shouldn't be the case. If we're not allowed to do it, they shouldn't be allowed to do it, and they should be penalized for it. When a politician gets elected by making a bunch of false promises that they take no initiative, the people who elect them should have a right to go to that damn politician and be like, "What the fuck, bro? I This is a crime because you basically, swore an oath to us publicly that you didn't uphold. In fact, you did the opposite. So, yeah, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Hell, maybe even send them to jail. Fuck it. Maybe the prison system will improve if we start sending politicians to the prison. I don't mean those fancy federal prisons. I mean the run of the mill ones that the average person goes to. Or just send them to New York. It's pretty much the same thing. But yeah, well, it's cool to see you in the chat, Tim. Yeah, about the state constitution, anyone elected. Yeah, that is really cool. I like the way that a lot of those states are going. I was hearing stuff about you guys legalize like suppressors, uh, which is really cool. I don't know the exact specifics of that because I know like the ATF is like really pissed off about that. But was it the Bruin decision, the Bruin ruling or whatever is really opening a lot of doors for constitutional carry. It's a really good thing. I mean, and what surprises me is nobody has went up to the court and just looked at him and said, "Look, it says we the people. This is a list of restrictions that I have imposed on the government, not restrictions that the government has imposed on the government. These are not for you to interpret. If you need an interpretation, you can ask the citizens because they are the ones who wrote it in spirit, you know." That's the thing that really annoys me though, is because like the ATF or whoever else can interpret a law any way that they want to arrest me, but I can't interpret a law in a way to get around it. Like that's still a no-go. Like if it's all up to interpretation, it's weird that only their side's interpretation is allowed. There's no such thing of like nobody can go to fucking court and argue. Well, I interpreted the Constitution with shall not be infringed as meaning any fucking law on a gun is unconstitutional and therefore I don't have to follow it. That doesn't happen. But it should. Because if they're allowed to interpret the law, then why can't we? Because if we interpreted the law, they wouldn't make as much fucking money off of us. It's all fucking sources of revenue. That's why we have all these fucking speeding tickets. That's why we have these new fucking traffic cameras on the side of streets that are popping up now that are giving people tickets for speeding. I'm not talking about the ones on stoplights. Those have been there for a while. And that's also why they typically have drones that they set out. A lot of cities I've been hearing about have been experiencing a lot of drones that suddenly go up around the same time at sunset, which is probably law enforcement. They're probably using it to track people and probably bust people for speeding or what the fuck ever. Who fucking knows? But justice should be about just right and wrong. But it's been perverted. It's been turned into a source of revenue. The more crime, the more money. So what are they motivated to do? Well, they're motivated to create more crime so they can get more money out of people by force of by threats of force and violence and incarceration. And they're allowed to do it. I don't know why they're allowed to do it. One would think that that would, in itself be somewhat illegal, but it is what it is. I love our country, but goddamn, I hate our government. We've let shit get way out of control. We should nip that shit in the bud back. They killed JFK because he was going to shut down the CIA. They all want you to think it was the mob. Why would the mob assassinate the guy who wants to get rid of the organization that's shutting them down? Doesn't make sense. It shouldn't make sense because it doesn't. No, JFK was really pissed about what the fucking CIA had been up to, interfering in a lot of these third world countries like Cuba. He wanted to shut it down, and he was right. That's what we found out. We found out about MK Ultra and all these other fucking tests and shit like that, all these other projects, all the other shenanigans they've been up to, quote unquote, making the world a better place. Uh, they're also the reason that we had the crack epidemic. They were working with the cartels on the side to make some extra money, bringing coke over the border in small planes and helping them taking out their competition, getting them arrested so the other ones they were actually working with were able to get their product in there. Yeah, it's really fucked up, and all this is proven. You don't believe me? All the records are out there. Google is your friend. I don't have them sitting in front of me. I'm prepared, but anything that's incorrect, I'm more than welcome to come back and say, hey, that's not right. But no, there's actual factual proof. There's reports of at one point, fuck, there's this one country the CIA was fucking with, and they convinced all the people that the people rebelling against the government were fucking vampires and shit, and they ended up like pulling people off the trail occasionally and like killing them and draining them of their blood and throwing them back on the trail. Like all this stuff is documented. And I'm not talking about like conspiracy, you know, ancient aliens fucking shit. I'm talking about legit fucking government files. Yeah, no repercussion. Well, it's still going. MK Ultra never stopped, man. Like, do you think about it? They're just gonna call it something else. They're gonna keep going with that research. There's a reason they were going into it to begin with. They never stopped. They're still doing shit like that to this day. And that's scary to think about what they're doing. But they are doing some fucking shit. That was the Philippines. Wendigoon did a video on it. It was wild. Oh yeah, I watch his stuff occasionally. I'm gonna have to look into his video of it though. I watch a lot of these different channels and stuff like that and look stuff up and I don't know, it's wild, man. Like more people should know how fucked up our government really is. Like why do these organizations exist to create all this kind of chaos? It really doesn't benefit us at all. I don't see any evidence of that. I see it more as an I mean, you know, us doing that kind of did lead to the birth of the Taliban. And we trained most of those guys. And then they get mad at us and decide, or mad at them and decide to attack us. Because it's crazy. Like, the average person thinks, like, most Americans are, like, wanting to police the world and stuff like, no, that's just our government, guys. We want them to just fuck off and leave everybody alone, but they don't listen to us. They never have. The sad thing is when people originally protested the Iraq War, like they were spouted as being like unpatriotic and all this other stuff. When They knew what the shit was. They were like, they're just going over there to fight over oil. Like, granted, terrorist attacks suck, but it's a terrorist attack. It wasn't a nation, quote unquote. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It totally wasn't us. We totally didn't do that to ourselves to justify going into this fucking shithole country so we could take all the oil. We totally didn't do that, guys. That's just no. We we took out Saddam because of what the Taliban did. And he had those WMDs, those weapons of mass destruction, just sitting out in the shed somewhere. But no, that's the sad thing. What I'm getting back to is like the people. I find that the people who were protesting the war back then were extremely patriotic. I think a lot of them knew what the real thing was, but everybody was just so swept up in this being manipulated basically by the government itself to be pro-war, by being like, well, 9/11, getting everybody riled up and stuff. I don't think we should have done that. It's sad what happened. It's sad that of all the life lost, but the answer to the loss of life is not the loss of more life. I'm sorry to tell you that, but you know, burning one hand doesn't mean you should burn the other. But it's just awful convenient that happened and the government basically got to do exactly what they wanted to. Like they were prepared and ready with all of this stuff just ready to go. And it's just weird how quickly they were able to put together the Patriot Act. It's just odd. It's like they knew it was coming, so they went ahead and just had some shit drafted up already, huh? Yeah. What was it, Building 7? The one that they still can't explain why it went into a complete free fall, like a controlled demolition that wasn't hit by any debris or anything. Just sad to think about, but I don't know. Our government's done some really shady shit to manipulate the public before. Most known one is that we knew that the attack on Pearl Harbor was coming, but we didn't warn anybody because at the time the nation was divided on whether or not we should get involved, and the only way to sway public opinion to be pro involvement would be for us to be attacked by a member of the Axis, which was the Japanese. But at the time, we were already assisting. We were already shipping a bunch of stuff to Europe and helping out other people. I mean, it's a good thing we got involved, It wasn't a good thing for Hitler to run around doing that shit. I'm still live too. I'm just checking my stuff real quick. Alright, cool deal. Anyways, I did get stuff earlier. I got Cassidy's Point Man comics books from Indie Planet. I did give a rant earlier about how they were shipped to me. They were shipped all in a single bag with no backing board at all. Just, I don't know, it just piss poor in my opinion. But I ended up bagging them myself and my own stuff because, I've been shipping my own books out. Which, okay. Which, I got these already packed up and a couple more over there that I got print labels for. And I got more to pack up. Got lots of covers. I already packed up and sent out this tier. I'm going to be sending the extras probably to Eric. Hoping to hurry up and get everything shipped out here soon so I can get a track of what I'm going to have left because there's a con here in the next few months that I'd like to attend and I'd like to have some books to be able to sell. And I really don't have the income right now to order any books. Sad to say. I think I'm excited for issue 3 because I think I'm gonna order enough to where I'm gonna have like a nice healthy stack of trades that I can take to a con and I'll have like a good format as opposed to single issues and everything. And just sell trades. But yeah, I'm gonna have to check out that Wendigo video. I like his stuff a lot. I haven't seen all of his stuff, but I've seen a good bit of it. He's been covering a lot of these like alternate reality things or whatever, ARGs or something like that. Uh, or some of them are just like YouTube videos. I haven't really been watching those because I'm not really interested in. I mean, the stuff he's covering, like the Monument Conspiracy or whatever, that one, where it was like, uh, or it's like analog horror, I guess is what they're calling it. But I mean, it's neat, but I always liked more of his stuff when it's based on actual like reality and stuff like the CIA stories and stuff like that. Like, I like him getting into the conspiracies and not necessarily the pure fiction kind of thing. But I still like his channel and stuff. I still like what he's doing. Maybe at some point, like, I'll make enough money and I can be like, hey, Wendigoon, can I sponsor one of your videos? And then, like, instead of Raid Shadow Legends, they'll be like Skinny's Comics. And I'll be like, yay. That's my target audience, too, is people who like weird stuff. That'd be weird to pay, like, for a sponsor to sponsor. I wonder how that works. I might look into that. It's a thought. At least they'll have something else to offer besides like fucking Raid Shadow Legends and bespoke post and stupid shit like that. They can actually offer something pretty cool. I want to get a store set up to sell books eventually. But seeing as how I gotta work a job and everything, I don't have the time or the resources to really dedicate to that just yet, but hopefully we'll get there. But I'm about to wrap this up. I'm going to be playing some, what you call it? I'm going to be playing more Atomic Heart here in a little bit. So, look out for that, but I'm going to hop off of here and get something to eat and all that good stuff. Later.